when I started dealing with this conversation and sitting at some of those tables in DC, when I was first testifying, I won't call it testifying, but I'll say communicating to folks within the Senate Armed Service Committee and Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, there were all the representatives essentially and the staffers on one side and the DoD folks on the other side. And the vast majority of the communication was me speaking about our experiences and the representatives being told by the DoD folks that they didn't have high enough clearances to continue the conversation. And I think that's been where this conversation has been in Congress for probably about 5 years or so, where essentially there has been a lot of stonewalling, to your point, not being able to get right into the programs, not having the proper clearances, not having proper rooms available. I do get the sense that this last ICIG meeting that they had, which wasn't a proper secure space, the representatives did seem, I would say, more interested coming out of that in the conversation. There did seem to be something that impacted them in a, I'll say, positive way for the conversation, continued exploration of the conversation. It would have been very easy, I think, for a lot of people to come out of there frustrated and say, or to say that, not much had happened. But I think that was I think it was, I forget which representative said, but maybe one of their first real briefs on this topic. At least that's how I'm interpreting it. And I think there has been a lot of, that whole back and forth on classification, not just with the David Grush incident, but for the past few years. Yeah.
Well, look, and Grush, again, is somebody people would have loved to have seen kind of smeared, and it hasn't happened. Same with you. Nobody's come out with the usual, which is, this guy got relieved of duty for a reason. This guy's disgruntled. We're in the middle of litigation with him. That's what usually happens. And none of that has happened here. I see this story as the biggest, most obvious head fake of anything else I've covered. The Russian dossier, that was fake. No, it wasn't. It was something that was relied on too much by people who should have known better. They knew it was raw intelligence. They had a lot of corroborative stuff. They decided to investigate. The way they decided it, exacerbated it, but it was all what it was. This story, Biden and his kid, look, that is what it is. Either you find that the money went to the family in the way it should have, or it didn't. The election rigged. Either you find that people faked votes or counted the votes wrong, or you don't. This one is the only one where we have been told absolutely nothing by the people who use our money and our power of agency to keep us safe without explanation. I've never heard anything else like it.
Maybe that's why a lot of people dismiss it, because it just seems so incredulous.
But it's interesting that people invest more curiosity in things that are easily explained. And here, you've been given no explanation. And it is relegated to the land of the tinfoil hat crowd. Yeah. And I'm fine with the disparagement. I am not looking for proof of the body in the basement that they have with the cryogenic seal. I don't care about any of that. It is what it is. And if we learn, we learn. For me, it's just transparency. I'm happy for them to shoot down every single thing. I'm happy for people to be able to sit down with you and show you what they've learned about how the radar created a phantom scenario. I just want the transparency. What do you want people to know who are going to watch and listen to this?
I would say, a lot of these kind of issues that you talked about and questions about how we can understand this and how other people have difficulty getting into the conversation, I would just realize that people watching this have more power, I think, to influence people in their immediate vicinity on this conversation. Be the advocate, be that person that's just a sane, rational person discussing this, I think goes as far as anything else to just make this a more palatable conversation for the masses.
What can I do to help?
You're already doing it, brother. And you and News Nation are doing fantastic work on this topic. It's incredible to see how you've grown and engaged in this topic.
What's right is right. News Nation has absolutely taken the bull by the horns. I'm just, one guy on that team. But I'm always a call away, and I appreciate you. And as we find sticking points that are about bureaucracy or specific players, let me know. And I'm very happy to test power. That's the job. And thank you for doing yours and then some. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. I think it's going to be a big year this year. And going forward, this conversation is not going anywhere.
That's the hope. That's the hope.